Alhamdulillah, it's a great blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He has given me and you the ability and tawfiq to participate in this gathering. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make this gathering a source of guidance for all of us. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make this gathering one of the means of our entry into Jannah. Alhamdulillah, we are doing a tafsir of Surah Kahf, and every Friday we do a little bit of it. In our last session, which was the first session of our tafsir of Surah Kahf, we understood some of the blessings that Prophet ﷺ mentioned in some of the hadith about the blessings of Surah Kahf. One such blessing was the hadith of Abu Darda radiallahu ta'ala anhu, in which he said that whoever memorizes the first 10 verses of Surah Kahf, he will be protected from the fitna of Dajjal. Another hadith which is mentioned in Sahih Muslim, which is the hadith of Sam'an radiallahu ta'ala anhu, which is a very famous hadith about Dajjal. It's the longest hadith about Dajjal, an authentic narration, in which Prophet ﷺ gave us all the details about Dajjal, of what he is going to come with, where is he going to come, what are the trials of Dajjal. In that hadith, at the end of that hadith, Prophet ﷺ said, if he comes and I am amongst you, then I will protect you against Dajjal. But if he comes after me, then kullu muslimin hajiju nafsihi. Then he said that every single Muslim will be on his own. He will have no figure to go to. No one else will protect him. He has to protect his own self. He has to become his own argument against Dajjal. And then he said, فَمَنْ أَدْرَكَهُ مِنْكُمْ. But he gave us a solution, he gave us a recipe. And he's told us that فَمَنْ أَدْرَكَهُ مِنْكُمْ, that whoever amongst you find Dajjal, see Dajjal, let him recite the beginning of Surah Kahf. So in the first narration, it was about the first 10 verses of Surah Kahf, which will protect us from Dajjal. And in this hadith, the beginning of Surah Kahf. So today's question is, why Surah Kahf, especially the first 10 verses of Surah Kahf? Why is this linked with the protection from Dajjal? What is the deal about of Surah Kahf protecting us from Dajjal? And by the way, the fitna of Dajjal is the worst fitna that this mankind will ever see and will ever experience. Prophet ﷺ told us in an authentic narration, since the day Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created Adam alayhi salatu wasalam, up until the day of judgment, there is no trial that is more harmful to mankind than the trial of Dajjal, than the fitna of Dajjal. There is no fitna that will cause more bloodshed. There is no fitna that will cause more destruction. There is no fitna that will wreak more havoc than the fitna of Dajjal. And then Prophet ﷺ said that Dajjal will come and he will claim to be a god. And apparently Allah will give him some miracles. So he will be able to stop the rain from falling. He will be able to stop water from falling. And then whoever rejects Dajjal, he will not be able to survive. He will die, he will perish, he will not be able to survive. But whoever believes in Dajjal, Dajjal will snap his fingers and the rain will start falling again. And the plants will grow and the vegetations will come out, the fruits will come out, and these people will be able to survive. So those who reject Dajjal, they will be tested and tried. And those who believe in the claim of Dajjal that he is a god, they will be able to survive, they will flourish on this earth. So the point that Prophet ﷺ is making here is, people will be tried and tested by the fitna of Dajjal like no other fitna. This is the point that he's making in this hadith. Now listen to the first 10 verses of Surah Kahf. Look at the first 10 verses of Surah Kahf. What is the first story? If you remember our last session, what is the first story that is set up in the first 10 verses of Surah Kahf? What is that story? About Ashab al-Kahf, about the young man. These young men, in the first 10 verses I'm talking about. The story that is set up in the first 10 verses is about those young men who believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then the king was trying to kill them. And they fled away seeking the protection of Allah. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave them that protection. In the time of Dajjal, that Dajjal will be a king. He will be going around killing all those people who believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in those times, the believers will have to become like the people of Ashab al-Kahf, like the young man of Ashab al-Kahf. In another hadith, as a matter of fact, in another hadith, Prophet ﷺ said, when the Dajjal will be here, when the Dajjal will come, the believers will run to the mountains. They will run to Jibal, running away from the Dajjal, seeking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's protection. And this is exactly what Ashab al-Kahf did. This is exactly what those young men did. They fled away, they sought refuge in the cave, seeking Allah's protection. And this is what we will be doing when the time will come later on. One of the reasons why the first 10 verses of Surah Kahf important. Another tribe of the Dajjal is that he will be able to control food and water. Apparently Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give him that control over food and water. So what will you do if you have no water and you have no food? What choice will you have? What choice will I have if I have no food and if I have no water? So people will believe in the Dajjal. And when they will believe in the Dajjal, they will get all the food that they need. But in the 7th verse of Surah Al-Kahf, if you read the 7th verse, 7th or 8th verse of Surah Al-Kahf, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَإِنَّا لَجَاعِلُونَ مَا عَلَيْهَا صَعِيدًا جُرُزًا. Indeed, we are the ones, whatever you see on the earth, barren or dry, fresh or dry, whatever you see on the earth, it's because of me. So if you want to be fed, even in those times, if you want to be fed, have faith in Allah, turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah will provide for you. Have faith in Allah subhanahu. The beginning of Surah Al-Kahf is telling us that Allah is the one who has all kind of power. Allah is the one who is in ultimate control. Allah is the one who is going to make this who is going to make the land go dry, or who will cause the water to stop, or will cause the water to flow. So Allah has all the power. Believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will feed you. And finally, in the last verse of Surah Al-Kahf, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the 10th verse of Surah Al-Kahf, finally Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us that those who sought refuge, who sought protection in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will always pave a way out for them. Allah will always make a way out for them. These young people, they sought refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they fled away, they sought refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this is the 10th verse that I'm going to recite now. And they made this dua. وَرَبَّنَا آتِنَا مِن لَدُنْكَ رَحْمَةً وَهَيِّئْ لَنَا مِنْ أَمْرِنَا رَشَدًا. O our Lord, bestowed your mercy upon us and help us in our affairs. This is the last verse, not the last one. This is the 10th verse. How perfectly these 10 verses finish. Exactly here where the 10th verse finishes. And these people are making dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this ayah, the last and the 10th verse of Surah Kahf, is an ayah of optimism. That you make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when you are in such kind of situation, any kind of trial, any kind of tribulation, especially when you are going through the fitna of Dajjal. Make dua to Allah, have trust in Allah, and Allah will answer your dua inshallah. And subhanallah, notice here that the hadith said the 10 verses of Surah Al-Dajjal, not the 11th. So when you meet Dajjal, how many verses are you supposed to read? 10 verses, and not the 11th verse. You know why not the 11th verse? Because if you read the 11th verse, inshallah we will translate all of these verses later on. But when you read the 11th verse, the 11th verse is about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala telling us that He saved all those young men by putting them to sleep, by making them go to sleep. That's how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saved all of them from that fitna of the king. But in the time of Dajjal, are we going to be saved by going to sleep? Are we going to be saved by going to sleep? Our Prophet ﷺ told us that in the time of the fitna of Dajjal, we will be saved when who will come? Who will come? Isa alayhi salam will come. And we will be sleeping or supporting him? Or standing by him. Right? So 11th verse here, we're not going to recite when we meet Dajjal. Why? Because the 11th verse is about saving those people by putting them to sleep. But we are not going to be saved from the fitna of Dajjal, but just by going to sleep. We have to help Isa alayhi salatu wasalam. We have to support Isa alayhi salatu wasalam. But subhanAllah, I was reading the 10th verse, and it makes me so happy that after mentioning this fitna of Ashab al-Kahf, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned their dua, teaching us that in the times of trials and tribulation, have faith in Allah. Have faith in Allah. Make dua to Allah. Just like these young men, they made dua to Allah, and Allah answered their dua. Allah gave them that protection they were expecting from Allah. So you make dua to Allah, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you that protection. People are falling to sleep, so inshallah I will finish here. I'm not going to go ahead. But my request is that every Friday, inshallah, just for 10 minutes, we will do few verses, 2 or 3 verses every Friday. Not more than 2 or 3 verses. But I request, you don't even have to take notes, because all of this will be put online. So if you want to listen to these sessions later on, you can go online and listen to these sessions later on. But my request, and this is the request that I can make, this is just a request. My request to all of you brothers, and if we can also help each other to memorize this surah. Memorize the Surah Kahf. And make a weekly routine of reading Surah Kahf every Friday, inshallah. No, alhamdulillah, Allah has given us this opportunity after the month of Ramadan. We made this intention. Allah gave us this opportunity to understand Surah Kahf, to go over Surah Kahf. And we will do it, inshallah, every Friday. Just for 10 minutes. Few ayat every Friday, inshallah. Just for 10-15 minutes, no more than 10-15 minutes. But if we can also help each other. I know it's difficult to memorize on your own. But if we can also help each other to memorize this surah. And then we understand it in a manner that every Friday when we recite this surah, inshallah, it will bring about more khushu in our heart. More focus, more love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in our heart. And then we will have this light that Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam spoke about. We will have this light in our hearts until the next Friday. So if we can all make effort. My routine here in Iqra is that on Sundays I sit down with brothers just for like 10-15 minutes and I help them recite one verse every Sunday. And I help them memorize one verse every Sunday. So we do it after Fajr, and the reason I do after Fajr, like I told you before, is because in the Quran al-Fajr kana mashhuda, it has some special benefits, it has some special rewards. So if you can make some time, come on Sundays, inshallah, after Sunday, after Fajr Salah, you all will sit down together and we'll try to memorize it together. So we are ready for this now, inshallah.